Hello! So there's been a few new skills suggested for old school Runescape, and I thought I'd take you through them. So this skill is called Forestry. So first of all, what is Forestry? Forestry is a skill where a player can maintain various forests over Runescape. All these forests will have tasks for the player to complete, and that will make use of all the skills currently in game. These tasks will contribute to the forest health. When first setting foot in a forest, the player will find it in a decayed state, and they have to bring the forest back to health by completing tasks. They've also got to think among the lines of just cutting away trees that have fallen over, constructing dams to keep overflowing rivers in shape. High level forests will have more difficult tasks to complete, and requiring the player to have high level skills to do that. Also, to cooperate with other players in order to complete these tasks. And they've got more about cooperation later on. So the health system. Forests will have two meters, the health and condition. The health meter indicates how a forest is doing at a given time. When the health meter is at its highest, the condition of the forest visually improves, but when the condition improves, various new locations within a forest becomes available, which in turn yield various rewards and resources. Rewards. Other than rewards just mentioned, every forest will yield specific resources and rewards. Think among the lines of healthy trees to cut for logs, mine for ore also become available in a cave that was first covered up, and so on. So maybe you go into a cave that was covered. There's also magical flowers in the center of forests that grow as the condition of the forest improves. The player can loot this flower when they want, but the damage of the forest condition, but it damages the forest's condition, and they gain XP. Needless to say, this is also that you need to maintain the forest to get the condition back up. So when you come down to this, a player can keep resources in the forest, say chinchompers at high level forest, or get the rewards from the flower, and the condition goes down, making them lose out on resources. So it's kind of like a forest, and you've got certain resources, and if you take the resources, then that's good because you're getting resources and XP, but it's also bad because it loses the condition of the forest, and the resources get lower level. So tasks in the forest. They've had all sorts of tasks in mind for it. So first of all, the woodcutting, chop away fallen trees that block roads. Farming, cut vines that cover paths. Prayer, bless cursed trees and exorcise evil spirits. Slayer, kill specific monsters that are infesting the forest. Hunter, hunt down critters that are damaging the plant life. Cooking, cook a specific recipe to cure sick forest animals. Crafting, craft a nice wooden birdhouse. I'm assuming that helps the forest. Needless to say, the amount of tasks you could add, and thus the skills you could include, is endless. This is why we believe it's a great way to have other skills involved. Possibilities are limitless. The system behind forest and cooperating. So they like to think the best way to make forestry work is to have forests to be in personal spaces, a bit like player-owned houses. Players seem to enter the areas from a point, like a house portal, and have their own unique space after. They think the forests need to work in a similar fashion. I think that means to houses. And after all, every player's forest will look different depending on what tasks they've completed and the condition of the forest. So I guess it's similar to a player-owned house, but depending on what you do, will make it look different as opposed to just saying I want a tree here, I want a bush there. For co-op, we believe players should be able to invite other players to their forest, and this works similar to how people invite players into their house for construction, but obviously when you're constructing you can't have other players in your build mode. Players will be able to complete tasks together. For example, if a fallen tree requires 80 wood cutting, but the owner of the forest doesn't have it, if they've got a friend, they can do it. I hope that doesn't mean that if I'm playing on my own, I could get a level 80 tree and I'm not level 83. But only if there's like a friend in the house that could do it. In a way, it's similar to Dungeoneering, where say you need a tree, you need to go through a door, and you need X cutting level. So I guess it's kind of like forest Dungeoneering. Anyway, public forests. We also had the idea to, beside normal forests, have public forests. These forests would be slightly larger and a tad different in layout. On top of this, players will be able to complete tasks towards spawning a unique boss. They could take down the boss after a certain amount of tasks have been complete. The boss will drop stuff, and that'll help out with the other skills, like herbs, seeds, tree seeds, forestry unique gear, which provide XP boots. I'm assuming that means boosts. We also had the idea that the public forests could be used as a hub. Since people will be able to see each other there, they could talk to each other and match with each other that needs tasks in their own forests. So you can say, if I have a level 80 tree I need cutting down, I go to a public forest and look for someone with 80 wood cutting. So that's a good idea. Last but not least, they wanted to say that the boss shouldn't be limited to just public forests. There could be bosses in private forests as well, for example, when the player reaches 100% condition. I'm assuming these bosses you just have to kill and you get the reward. Locations that they already thought of. So location 1 at level 1, west of Lumbridge Castle. At level 11 they want east of Varrock, and they haven't really said that, but they gave Jagex a video on how to do that. Also, they thought that the Mauritania forest could provide a blood altar when it's at 100% condition, and maybe even the Elven forest could provide crystal halberds. I don't know how it would provide it, but maybe if there's a big boss that you have to kill, for example, they could maybe drop it. So that's the end of that. So forestry. What do I think of it? Sounds alright. Kind of like just looking after a forest, a bit like Dungeoneering. Maybe to make it more interesting, you have to go through the forest. It's kind of like maybe you get mini quests where you have to like rescue someone in the forest. Otherwise, you just get a forest, and then you'll be like, yeah, I have a forest. Obviously, they get tasks, so I guess if you get told to go cut a tree, you have to do that. And you have to keep it at a high condition. Co-op idea and the public forests, I think, are a good idea, especially because the public forest, that's a hub for getting people to the co-op mode. But if I were to help someone in their forest, do I get the XP? Do they get the XP? Who gets the XP? And how do I get forestry XP? This is the question I want to know. How do I get forestry XP as opposed to just wood cutting XP for doing a task? So I think I kind of like the idea of this, but as for a skill, I'm gonna say no. But for a mini game or something, it's quite an interesting idea. Trying to think of what the area would actually look like, and I'm assuming I don't think it's in old school, but definitely in RuneScape 3. If you're in is it called Zenaris, the fairy city? There's like trees around the outside. I can imagine it just looking a bit like that, and a few trees in the middle which you can actually interact with. But I'd love it if there was a massive area that you could just interact with all the trees, cut them down, and just walk over them. That'd be kind of interesting, give it more of an open world feel. But obviously you don't want to be able to chop out the world and just walk away. That'll be a bit strange. I mean, this idea is quite good. I think it's a little incomplete, for example, the ideas of the locations, but they've also got a video, apparently, which they sent to Jagex, which would be quite interesting if they showed it us, so we could get a better idea of what the skill could be about. Anyway, so if you want to see the other skills, click on the link here, and I'll take you to my video about skills, and it's got the links to all the 5 skills that have been suggested. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.